Hello everyone, hopefully you're tuning in because you've just watched my hunting show. And as you can see, I'm in my house, in my kitchen, with Rachel! We are actually friends. We are actually friends, aren't we?
We are friends.
We're not like faking this, we are actually friends. Rachel's been staying at my house for the weekend. We've had a lovely time. And the reason we're doing this video is because we feel like we spent so long together, like weeks on end. And of course, what you're seeing is a little tiny edited version of what really happened. We feel like there's so much more to tell you. I'm getting lots of stick from my followers saying, you know, why are you friends with a hunter? Why are you supporting hunting? And I'm not supporting it. I'm understanding it because I've educated myself. So that's what we aim to do with this video. As you can see, Rachel has some deer. And it's not just any old deer. This is the deer that she shot on the show. So much as that grosses me out as a vegetarian, and I would never eat it in a million years, this is proof that Rachel does actually eat what she shoots. And Rachel's going to explain a bit more about hunting, but I like the fact that none of that deer has gone to waste because we're now, what, how long ago did we shoot that deer? Well, you shot the deer, not me.
Oh, was it back in May?
May? So
May,
what are we
June,
now?
May, June, yeah, it's September.
So we're talking months ago. She's had this in her freezer and she's still living off it now. She's brought it down to mine for the weekend to make her own dinner. Anyway, enough said. Let's get on. I'm making some veggie delight over here. Rachel's going to prepare the deer there and I'm going to grill you.
I'm not offended by your watermelon, by the way.
Good. You shouldn't be. But I will grill you. Is that okay?
Fine.
Right, so this is what I want to know. Why is hunting a more ethical and humane method than some of the other methods that are used, like factory farming? Explain.
So, as you saw when you came out with me, the deer, this very deer that I'm putting up now, was in its natural environment.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure you'll agree, didn't actually know we were there.
No.
So it's lived in its natural environment its whole life. It's lived a free range life. It's
had a nice life, basically.
Of course it's
hasn't been kept in a cage.
You know, it's been skipping around meadows, you know,
with
eating
its
nice
little,
lush grass.
with its little deer friends.
Exactly, with its little deer mates, you know, and it has had a lovely, natural, free range life.
As opposed to,
for example, factory farming conditions, which, well, let's be honest, they're not.
Are terrible.
They're not a natural life, are they?
Well, they're kept in cages.
So
they're pumped full of steroids and antibiotics. They live a horrendous life. They are terrified and scared their whole life. They are in pain, they're suffering, they're fattened up, they live a short life, and then they're slaughtered in a barbaric way by being electrocuted and all other things that they do to them, and it's horrendous.
So this is actually as natural and as free range and as humane meat that you can actually go out there and get.
As humane meaning that it's one shot to the heart and it dies instantly with no pain, no suffering. It doesn't even actually know. It hears a crack and the lights go out, basically.
Absolutely, as you came out and saw for yourself.
And I did see that for myself and I can vouch for it. And if you've just watched the show, you will know that because she put one bullet straight through its heart and it dropped on the spot. It didn't know anything about it. Like Rachel said, it didn't know we were there. It had a lovely life up until that point, unlike factory farmed animals who have a terrible, terrible life. And you're still eating it now months later, so it has actually provided for you and your family.
And the thing about wild deer meat as well is it's sustainable and it's actually got a really low carbon footprint, a lot lower than intensive farming has. So it's sustainable in the way that obviously when we were out at Mike's place, we saw a lot of deer on the ground. Now, one of the things that people think is because they don't see deer, so obviously drive down the road, you see plenty of cows in the field at the side of the road.
Yeah.
Deer, they're such a shy animal, so they only come out at night or early in the mornings.
Yeah.
You know, because they are an animal that, you know, they're a prey animal. So people have got this misconception that, you know, deer must be in some way, you know, rare or low in numbers.
But they're not.
In the UK, deer numbers are actually the highest that they've ever been.
No way.
So it's a really sustainable, if you manage your deer herd well, it's a really great sustainable food source, that's there forever, there for generations to come.
And remembering that we, going back thousands of years, we have actually hunted deer for thousands of years. Like it's a normal meat, isn't it, to eat? Like,
absolutely.
I know some people don't see that, but it actually is. It's something we've hunted for years.
Muntjac are also, this deer in particular, muntjac are prolific breeders, so they don't have a season, they breed all year round.
Right.
Another misconception is hunters go out there, all times of the year, shooting whatever comes out. That's not true.
Well, I was going to say, because when we went out with Mike shooting and you were looking for a deer, we saw loads of deer that he actually wouldn't let you shoot. I remember, because he saw 2 young ones, didn't he? And he said, you can't have them, they're too young.
Yeah, and that's part of what hunters do how we manage deer. So that's management, that's sticking to a good management practice. That's a good management plan. You're seeing it firsthand being put into action.
Yeah.
And that is, what hunting's about.
Yeah.
And that's what we try and promote and stick to. There's actually a governing body for deer hunting and good management practice, the British Deer Society.
So what we're saying is basically you're not just out there shooting willy-nilly at any old deer. There are specific seasons when you're allowed to do it. There are specific deer you're allowed to shoot, as in they're chosen, they're selected, aren't they? As in you can't just go shooting any old deer. Like whoever manages the land will say to you, you can shoot an older one or an injured one or whatever. You can't just go shooting any deer you fancy, can you?
It's absolutely all got to be in fitting, with a management plan that's got the deer's best interest at heart as well, and it's also obviously got government oversight.
Yeah. So, to conclude the section about why hunting is more ethical than factory farming, is that factory farmed animals have lived in cages all their life. They're bred specifically for eating. They live a life of suffering and pain and misery and fear, and they have a horrendous life and quite a short life before they're then barbarically slaughtered. The deer that you shot, that this is the very deer that I watched you kill, it was 1 bullet to the heart, it knew nothing about it, it was dead instantly. You're still eating it now months later, and so is your family. And that deer didn't suffer in any way. It had a lovely life and it ran freely in the fields with its friends and family, in the countryside. It had a lovely life and it didn't even know we were there the day you took it.
Absolutely.
That's why hunting the way you do it is more ethical and more humane than factory farming.
And that's why it becomes very annoying and very upsetting to see people who actually eat meat slag what I do. So
if you're sitting eating a burger or a steak or anything else you bought from the supermarket,
you're a hypocrite.
Shame on you, you hypocrite. And it's true, because actually, I'm a vegetarian, I won't eat any meat and I certainly won't kill an animal. However, having learned about hunting, I do now know the difference between hunting and supermarket meat, and I have to say I prefer Rachel's method. I don't want anyone eating meat. God, if I could turn the whole world vegetarian, I would. But I can't, and so I understand people are always going to eat meat, and I would rather see the animal have a lovely life and then be shot quickly, painlessly, and it to be over quickly. I would much rather that than to see factory farmed animals that are bred just for people to eat burgers. So there you have it. Is your deer ready to go in the ham?
It is, yes.
I'm calling it deer, not even venison. That's what it is. I have made a watermelon and feta and mint salad and lime juice. Loads of lime juice, loads of feta. It's so easy. Chop up the watermelon. You have a lovely summer salad.
And I am going to make venison stir fry.
Go on. made a watermelon, feta, freshly chopped mint and lime juice salad. You saw me make it. It took about 1 minute. It's really quick, really easy, tastes amazing, really refreshing and actually really filling. This is one of my favourite summer salads / side dishes. Rachel has cooked her venison. This is the actual deer that she shot on the show. She's cooked it now. She's going to have it for her lunch. She's done a stir fry with noodles and veg and some kind of soy sauce type.
Took about
thing.
5 minutes, because obviously I hunted the meat myself. That probably costs about £3 to feed an entire family. So to do a meal for my family with meat that I've hunted is actually really quite cheap, and I feel.
Well, how long would a deer last your whole family? Like the whole deer?
Oh God, obviously it depends on the species because some are bigger, some are smaller. The muntjac will probably last us a month.
Blimey.
Yeah.
And it's fresh, it's organic, it's free range, it's had a nice life. And there you go. I am sick to death of saying I would not eat an animal. I would not kill an animal. But if you choose to do so, I would rather you do it ethically and humanely. And therefore, I appreciate what Rachel does.
So does my mouth. I'm sorry, I was really hungry.
Well, she's got a mouthful of her dear.
Can I also say that venison is actually it's a really lean meat. It's low in cholesterol, so it's actually really good for you. It's a real good alternative, yeah, and I'd love to see more of it in restaurants and a bigger demand for venison and wild game meat.
Well, look, I understand it. I really want you to understand it. I'm going to eat my salad. This is far too big for me. I'm going to eat all of this by myself. That mint. So nice.
It does actually look really good.
Oh.
It'll take you like 2 minutes.
Don't be jealous of my salad.
I'm not jealous of it. Well, this is the bit I get to have back.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Rachel, talk to me about culling, because what you hear when you don't know much about it is you hear that people are saying, oh, we're overrun with deer, we need to cull them, they need to be culled. And as a vegetarian animal lover, I think, but why? Why can't you just leave them to run free? Explain.
Well, in this country, deer have no natural predators.
Right.
So other than a hunter with a rifle or a car, deer have, nothing to keep that population to a stable number. There's nothing kind of killing them other than us. Left to for the numbers to get out of control, it'd be destructive on the ecosystems, and that has a terrible effect. How
destructive are we talking? What are we talking?
You're talking that, it's not just the fact that they eat. I mean, I think an adult deer eats about 50 kgs of food a day. So you imagine a huge herd of deer in a forest, that's a lot of food. That's a lot of food destruction to obviously the plant life, the trees, they eat, the saplings of trees. It would just be devastating.
They would destroy whole forests.
Absolutely, yeah. And that has a huge detrimental impact then on any wildlife or animals that share that forest. So
say for example, a forest could manage like 100 deer. If there were 500 deer in that forest and they completely stripped the forest bare, completely destroyed it, what you're saying is they would destroy the whole ecosystem in that area, the wildlife, the animals, everything that lived there would be destroyed.
And you think a deer's quite a big animal, so you put a herd of cows in front and let them trample down the ground. So it's not about, you know, wiping the deer out, it's obviously the food element, but also to keep on top of the population is absolutely essential.
Right.
So even if deer were inedible, we would still have to manage and cull them and keep the population down.
And that's my next question. When you cull them, are they still put back into the food chain and eaten, or are they wasted?
Absolutely. Absolutely everything that is hunted goes into the food chain, obviously, when it's an edible species, everything. There would be absolutely no reason that, you know, a deer wouldn't make it into the food chain unless it was obviously diseased and inedible.
And this is something I'm guessing that is planned and controlled. It's not just a bunch of hunters, you and your mates, running around fields shooting deer, is it? It's
No.
something that's planned.
Absolutely not. So again, you know, there's a management system in place, there's a culling system in place. It's regulated by, you know, the British Deer Society and people like that. They put out, you know, good practice, and it's managed. It's a self-managed system, and it's worked for hundreds of years.
This is not a new thing.
This is not a new thing. This has been happening, you know, for hundreds of thousands of years. You know, we've always played a role in managing deer, and we have a really great, healthy population of deer in the UK because of that.
So if you were thinking like me, when they're talking about we can't have too many deer and we're being overrun by deer, I was thinking, well, they're not bloody serving me in a restaurant yet, so we're not that overrun, but actually we are. And if we left them to their own devices, they would be ruining not only whole forests but whole ecosystems, and therefore it would be bad for wildlife and the countryside.
Exactly.
There you have it. Rachel,
Yes.
what's the difference between poaching and hunting?
Oh, so this is a common misconception that a hunter and a poacher is the same.
But they're not.
So when you see, you know, the horrific, you know, news stories about, you know, the fact that rhinos, you know, are on the brink of extinction and all of this, people think that that's because of or to do with hunting.
Right.
So the difference between a hunter and a poacher is a hunter is someone who, you know, goes out and takes an animal legally and within the confines of a conservation programme.
Right.
And it's also oversighted by the government.
Yeah.
A poacher is basically just an outlaw who goes out, is a criminal, and they go out and indiscriminately kill what they can to supply illicit markets. Such as the ivory trade.
Yeah, I was going to say, so like ivory, they will kill
Yeah.
elephants for ivory, even though that's completely illegal to do so. They'll just go out and do it anyway.
Yeah, and they do it indiscriminately. It's not within any kind of confines of a conservation programme. It's not government oversighted. It's not managed. It's just, you know, it's one of the biggest problems that faces wildlife, basically.
Poaching.
Yeah, and it's something. I mean, I donate quite a lot and follow and try and endorse and promote quite a lot of you know, Save the Rhino charities and anti-poaching efforts, which a lot of funds from hunting. This is kind of the paradox. A lot of funds from hunting actually goes into anti-poaching.
Right.
A lot of hunting outfitters actually pay and have on the ground, you know, anti-poaching rangers.
Yeah.
So the two actually work together.
Because I think people would be shocked by that you are so anti-poaching, because they just see hunting and poaching as the same thing. They don't understand that there's a difference.
Yeah.
What you do is organised and planned, and it's either culling or it's to eat it, and either way it's going into the food chain anyway.
Exactly.
And it's ethical, and it's organised, whereas poachers are just going after ivory or whatever else even if it is, there's another part of the animal they use in Chinese medicine. They kill animals, don't they, to use all sorts of things thinking that they've got magical powers or whatever.
Give some rich Chinese guy a hard on.
Yes.
Because he, you know,
ate a tiger brain or whatever.
Yeah, it's basically what it is.
And yeah, I do think people will be really shocked by that you are so against poaching.
Absolutely. I half blame the media for that, because they always seem to conflate poaching and hunting together. There's no kind of explanation out there that distinguishes between the two.
What do hunters actually do in terms of conservation for the animals? Because obviously poachers are just coming and killing them, but hunters are not doing that, although they do still kill them, but in an organised way for culling or eating. What do hunters do to protect the animals then?
So to hunting outfitters and people obviously who support hunting, the animals are valuable to be alive and to be there, for there to always be a sustainable population there. They want them to be there for generations to come. Whereas poachers, the animals have value when they're dead.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you're talking about, you know, war-torn and impoverished countries. So you're talking about people who haven't got other means of income, who are getting paid a lot of money to go out and, you know, kill these animals for ivory or whatever, you know, in any way that they can. They sometimes use methods such as poisoning. So they'll go and poison a water hole to, you know, so they get the elephants, so they kill the elephants. But a knock-on effect of that is they pollute and kill, you know, all of the species that also share that water hole.
Right.
That's just one example. It is a really, really complex topic, but the underlying thing is, you know, hunters want there to be populations of animals there, you know,
and
they give the animals value.
Poachers don't care if they become extinct.
Yeah.
Trophy hunting, everyone gets up in arms about it, but there's a lot more to it than what people realise, isn't there? For example, I now know from hanging around with you for weeks on end that people pay big money to trophy hunt, so they pay like $100 grand a time to go and shoot a lion. Now, whatever their motivation, and I still don't agree with it and don't think it's right that someone wants to go and shoot a lion, but that money goes back into protecting all the other lions, doesn't it? And it goes into conservation.
So the definition of trophy hunting is to go and hunt an animal with certain characteristics, you know, it's got big horns or whatever. Personally, I don't trophy hunt. So personally, for me, I don't go out there and look for an animal of certain traits. But the result of trophy hunting is the same, you know, it's the same transferable of all hunting. It produces meat. You know, whether it's a lion and elephant, it will go to the natives and it will feed, you know, the local community.
Really?
Yeah.
So if they shoot an elephant, they literally feed the village from it?
Oh, absolutely. It's incredible. I've watched quite a few videos where an elephant that's been hunted by a trophy hunter, you'd be amazed. You know, it's quite a beautiful thing really, because the whole community turns up and that elephant will feed a community for say 3 months. You know, there's that much protein there. You're talking about, you know, countries that, you know, they're impoverished, you know, there's starving communities. They might otherwise have farms with cattle. The lions would go and eat that cattle. They would kill, poison, you know,
do whatever they can to get rid of the lions.
Yeah, and if the hunter's going out there providing alternative sources of protein, alternative sources of income for them, it does work hand in hand.
Because that's the thing, we get so angry about like the rich guy going out to kill a lion, but as much as, you know, just that act alone is horrible, what he's paying for that privilege to do that is helping the whole community, the village. It pays wages for people, it pays for the anti-poaching people, you know, like you say, creates jobs. So it's such a bigger thing than, you can't just look at that one thing of he's killed a lion. You've got to look at what has gone back into it. Now, I argued this on the show and we didn't see loads of it, but with that diggery, I argued on the show and said, but hang on a minute, like, surely there's other ways. Like, why, if someone wants to help animals, why can't they just give $100 grand to that reserve anyway and just help the animals instead of giving $100 grand to shoot a lion? And he said, well, it doesn't work like that. No one just steps forward and gives $100 grand, do they? Like, people are happy to sit and rant on their sofa, much like we are doing now. But people are happy to sit and rant about it from their sofa and scream and shout about trophy hunting, but they're not actually doing anything to help the animals, are they? Whereas the guy going out to shoot the lion, yes, you know, he might, in my mind, he might be an arsehole, he might be a wanker. I don't like him, I don't want to be friends with him. But his $100 grand that he paid to shoot the lion is helping all the other lions. And the other point that we never made is that he goes and shoots the oldest, weakest lion, and they keep all the young, fit, healthy lions to then breed from. So they are actually conserving them.
So basically, yeah, it's all about value and alternatives. And who are we, or who's Ricky Gervais, or who's Piers Morgan, to sit in our country, you know, where we've got politics and all the rest of it, you know, in our nice safe country, from our nice safe sofas, to tell people in Africa how to manage their wildlife, how to bring in income, how to, you know, combat poaching and massive problems that they face, and human-animal conflict. Can you imagine if an elephant came storming through your, through your garden now? That's what they live with on a day-to-day basis.
It's true though.
They could have
if
a light,
an elephant came storming through my garden now, I would shit myself, and I definitely would need a gun. Like, not saying I'd want to shoot it, but I would just be like, what do you do?
And we live in a world where we live alongside, and we have since the dawn of time, alongside wildlife. And we can't say, oh well, because animals are cute and fluffy, get rid of the humans. That's not pragmatic. So to find ways that work, and I'm not saying that hunting, is the only solution. There's phototourism, and this is one of the arguments that comes up about trophy hunting. Well, phototourism generates this much income, but phototourists aren't prepared to go into the dangerous and kind of barren and insubmissible environments that hunters are. So, it's a tool.
So some places can use phototourism to support the animals, and some places can't.
Yeah, no, absolutely no hunter is saying, this is the only thing we are so it's a tool, it's a part of a big picture, it's a part of a bigger picture. And Jodie, it works. And that's why I don't trophy hunt, but I still do support and vocally support. And I only do that from information, just getting information.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Like we said, if someone's prepared to just give $100,000 to a reserve to protect animals, then great. That month or that 6 months, they don't need to shoot a lion. But when someone's paying $100,000 to shoot a lion, they need that money. So they take that money because they're like, that can provide jobs and resources and protection for the animals and everything else, where without that $100,000 they've got nothing. And they've got animals trampling through their land and killing things and killing their cattle and wrecking their farms and whatever else. So to take out an old weak lion for $100,000, that's helping their community, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And you come back to the culling, it's people have got it in the mind that humans have started doing this hunting thing in recent. It's only because it's in the media more, it's social media.
It's been going on for thousands of years.
Yeah, we've always played a part in it. Why would we remove ourselves from it now? And it's always worked. It works.
Why would you not do trophy hunting? Because you're very adamant that you wouldn't do it.
It's not. See, this is where it gets quite complicated, because if I went out, and within a cull program it was to take a mature animal, that mature animal might turn out to be a trophy because it's a mature animal, it's got the big horns, so it is a crossover. There are crossovers.
Would you shoot a giraffe?
Me personally, no.
Why not?
Don't really have a reason for it. I can't really. I honestly can't explain. And
the
it is quite hypocritical.
Is at a loss for words.
It is. It's quite hypocritical of me. I don't know if it's I am probably guilty of being like species prejudice or species objective.
It's because they're beautiful and because they're cute and because they've got long eyelashes.
Do you know, that's exactly what Mark's mum said to me once when I was going out to get a deer. She said, "Oh, but you can't kill a deer. They're pretty, they have lovely long eyelashes." But to me, this is where it becomes, because all animals to me are pretty.
But that is mad that you can kill certain animals and not others. Like, to me, I couldn't kill any. I mean, I was feeding a family of rats once and I got in lots of trouble from my dad, let me tell you. He went mad at me, but I was like, there's a mummy rat and a daddy rat and like 6 baby rats, and I was like, they're a family, I need to feed them. My dad went ballistic at me. I had them living under my decking on my patio.
It's down to culture, I think, because certain animals seem more exotic to different people, but in that country it's not exotic.
It's not exotic, it's a pest.
Yeah, exactly.
When they're wrecking their farms and stuff.
Yeah.
But it is mad that you couldn't shoot a giraffe but you can shoot other things, and it's honourable that you can admit that and say, well, actually you're a hypocrite yourself, in the sense
it depends on circumstances as well. So if I was in Africa and someone's grab your rifle, there's an injured giraffe or there's whatever, I'm not saying I couldn't but I wouldn't personally. It's not really on my on my radar to go.
When you kill an animal, do you ever feel guilty? Like, is there any emotion of guilt of like, I've just taken something's life?
If I ever stopped feeling kind of an element of remorse, I can't really describe it. It's kind of a respectful remorse. It's not regret. I'd stop hunting. You've got to have that. You've got to have that compassion and that respect for the animal that you're hunting. I would, and I genuinely mean that. If I ever stopped feeling that,
You'd stop.
I'd stop. I'd stop hunting. I'd have to question kind of my own moral compass. And that's what it comes down to. We're all individuals. We all have our different circumstances, whether it's the country you live in, the culture you've been brought up in. But if it all comes under this one idea that if it works for conservation, you know, I'm not gonna start bashing someone on the internet because they're doing something that I don't want to do myself. If it's not, you know,
each to their own, and if it's helping the planet in some way, which it actually is, the money they pay to do it is, then
I think people get more angry as well when they see species such as giraffes or whatever. They maybe think that they're rare or they're endangered.
I know. Well, I was trying to work this out myself. I was thinking, why do I get so angry at the image of a giraffe dead on the floor next to a hunter, and I don't get as angry, you know, over other animals. Like, I do get angry over any animal. As you know, I've been out on a shoot with you, and I was like crying before you'd even shot anything. And but that is all it can come down to, is aesthetics, because you look at it and go, it's such a majestic, beautiful, elegant, you know, stunning looking animal, and you just hate the thought of seeing one dead on the floor. Like, it's just vile. But there again, you know,
we romanticise things.
I don't know, it's like, you know, like in China they eat dogs and we don't, and you know, that's culture. Again, it's each their own. You know, people were kicking off about this dog meat festival, and yes, I agree that they should be kicking off in terms of the torture that's inflicted on the dogs. But in terms of them actually eating dog, them eating dog is like us eating sheep.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, or cows or whatever. It's just our culture. Which leads me to, I must make another point as well, that on your Twitter, all those pictures of you holding what I now know Barbary sheep, they look like an exotic animal because they're great big horns that come out and all the rest of it. And you think, blimey, because we don't have those in this country. You're like, oh my God. But actually, that is just a sheep.
It is.
So when you see the pictures on Rachel's Twitter of her holding these animals, they're sheep, they're what we eat, i.e. lamb chops. Like
the sexy picture.
Yeah, the sexy picture.
That's not sexy. It was 45 degrees in Spain.
It is sexy.
She just thinks everything's sexy.
She's a sexy girl. I fancy her. You're a sexy girl.
Thanks.
It is sexy. She's got hot pants on.
It was 45 degrees. I did have camo trousers on and just ripped them off.
It's still a sexy.
But it is essentially a sheep.
But it's a sheep. That's what I mean. Everyone's kicking off. I was kicking off before I met you. I was going, who does she think she is? What is this? This is disgusting. And then now I know it's a sheep. I'm like, oh.
Do you know what?
But everyone eats sheep.
The funny thing about that as well is people think that that's a trophy. It doesn't fit into the description of a trophy. It's not, you know, those horns would be measured and there is actually a trophy measuring system. That's not a trophy. It's not a trophy. It wouldn't have made a trophy.
Did you eat it?
So, yeah.
Was it nice?
To be honest, it's not the best meat that I've eaten. I'm gonna admit that. But again, going into the, you know, taking the same cull system into different countries, that sheep is not native to Spain. It's an introduced species, again, left to get out of control. So it's all, there's a lot of crossovers, but people are so quick to judge, you know, and I think,
because that's the
leading on to the next point that we're going to make about, you know, one of the most profound messages of the...
Yeah, oh my God, this has been the most eye-opening thing I've ever done in my life. It really has, and, you know, that's exactly the point. It's like, you know, you get other presenters screaming at people, well, would you shoot a cat? Would you kill your own pet dog or whatever? And it's like, well, no, we wouldn't, because they're our pets. But, like, animals are bred for eating. Fact. Like, while you lot are sitting at home eating your lasagna or your meatballs or your burgers, steaks, whatever you're eating, chicken Kiev, maybe. I don't know where I'm pulling these from. I don't eat meat, clearly, so I don't really know what's good anymore. But chicken Kiev is a bit of an 80s thing, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I think it was. Anyway,
I don't think it was even chicken.
Probably not. I remember finding when I did eat meat, I stopped eating meat when I was 5, and before that I found a blue vein in a chicken nugget once, and that was it for me. I was just like, what is this blue thing in my food? And yes, that was enough to put me off for life. But what I was going to say is, all these people eating meat at home, you have got to remember that this is what animals are for, or bred for, is they're bred for eating. Like, you know, you can't be screaming at her going, but she kills deer, she goes out shooting. It's like, but indirectly you're killing animals every single day. And I myself, I said at the very top of all of this, and it didn't actually make it into the show. It was, you know, it wasn't deemed interesting enough, but I think it is, so I'm going to say it again. I said myself, I am a hypocrite. I have leather seats on my motorbike. I have leather seats in my car. I'm a hypocrite. I've been vegetarian all my life. I would never directly harm an animal, ever. I rescue animals. I donate to animal charities and have done all my adult life. I campaign for animals. I'm an animal rights protester, like as in I stand outside Parliament screaming about stuff to help animals, and I've modelled for Peter. But I have leather seats in my car. Like, I am a hypocrite. We can't all be perfect. I do as much as I can do for animals. I shouldn't have leather seats in my car. You know, maybe next time I won't. But like, I didn't even think about it at the time. I ordered the new car and went, yeah, lovely. And then it came with leather seats. I didn't even think about it. But that's still harming an animal, isn't it? So all I'm saying is think before you start abusing people, because we are all responsible. I'm sorry, we are all responsible. And I have to make this point, you know, it's my favourite point. Even the vegans out there, shake my hand at you, we are all responsible because farmers shoot pigeons, crows and anything else that destroys their crops being the things that you eat, as in fruit, vegetable, wheat and all the rest of it, things that only vegans eat or only vegetarians eat. Animals are still being killed to protect your crops. So we're all responsible. I'm sorry, you think you're doing good by just living on strawberries.
Soya, palm oil.
Oh, I don't eat palm oil. Don't get me started on the palm oil debate.
But it's absolutely environmentally destructive, and
everyone is responsible.
Somewhere, so you
peanut butter, if it's got palm oil in it, you're responsible for the death of animals. Basically. Hi. We're in bed. I'm in bed with a hunter. Oh my god.
Literally, the entire show has culminated to this.
But no, wait, there's a serious reason behind this. There actually is a serious reason, because there's a bigger message here. It's much bigger. It's bigger than the show, it's bigger than me, bigger than her, bigger than all of it, right? It's not about being vegetarian, it's not about being a hunter. It doesn't matter whether you kill it to eat it, whether you kill it to put it on the wall, or whether you don't kill animals at all. The message here is this. I don't agree with what she does. She doesn't agree with what I do. We have a difference of opinion. We don't do what each other does, but we've taken the time to understand it. We've educated ourselves, we've understood it, we've listened to each other, and now we're friends. We actually are friends. Rachel's been at mine all weekend. We speak all the time on the phone, we text each other. You know, we're actual friends, aren't we?
We've had a sleepover. We are friends.
That's official.
We are properly friends.
So, but the fact is this, you don't have to agree with everything someone does, and you don't have to do that thing yourself, but you don't have to hate them for it. You don't have to hate them. You can just respect what they do and go, I wouldn't do it, but I like you. And I think the world needs more of that. There's too much hate in the world. The hate I've had for this show, the hate Rachel gets every single day, it's vile, and we just don't need it. You might not agree with what she does, you might not agree with what I do, but you don't have to send us hate. You can just be nice. What do you think?
I think, I mean, I said from the start, I've got absolutely nothing but respect for you. Even, you know, the aim was never to try and turn you into a hunter or a meat eater, and vice versa. I don't think you were trying to turn me into a veggie.
No.
But we found common ground. You know, we learned about each other, and we actually got out of this culture that everyone's sat at home doing nowadays on social media, just judging people from afar without truly finding out who people are, you know, and the reasons for why people might do things. You, out of anyone, you know, you got up off your backside, you came out, and we found common ground, and found that even though we do lead different lives and have different opinions, we don't have to, you know, like you say, you don't have to hate people, you know, don't spew hate.
Yeah, because we did start this journey as polar opposites who perhaps there was a little bit hate there, you know, maybe from my part,
From
certainly.
you.
Yeah.
I fucking hate her.
Murdering scum. No, you know, there probably was a bit from me because I didn't understand it. I was doing what the masses do, which is just, you know, spewing venom because I was ignorant.
Something you didn't understand.
Yeah. And then when I educated myself, when I saw what you did and I understood it from so many different angles, I was just like, do you know what? I'm so wrong. And I've told you before, I felt ashamed at how I treated you in the beginning because I always pride myself on not judging people, and I did judge you in the beginning, and I told you that. I even called you up and said, I'm so sorry, Rachel, like, when you see the show, I am horrible about you in the beginning. And you said, don't worry, I expected that. You know, so I respect you for understanding that, but equally, now we're sitting here, we're in bed together, doesn't get better than this.
Hate doesn't, like, literally hating something and spewing hate at people doesn't get you anywhere.
No.
It doesn't change anything. You know, get informed. If you've got an opinion, make sure it's an informed opinion, and you've equipped yourself with all the facts before you go prejudging people and judging people because they're different.
That is basically it. The moral of all of this is not even about hunting. It's about every single one of us is different, and it's about respecting those differences and allowing that, and not judging people, not being horrible to people. And if you don't know all the facts, then just don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Don't say anything. But even if you do know all the facts, you can find common ground and you can be nice to each other. Rachel and I have ended up friends. I never saw that coming, not in a billion, trillion years. I was like, it would never happen.
Vegetarian, animal rights activist, anti-hunting, naked Peter model. And we found understanding.
We did.
Pretty
we
impressive.
Actually did. And I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of you too.
No, I'm proud of both of us.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, you should be.
I don't think it's ever been done, you know, for someone to so polar opposites from two completely different worlds to actually come together and be in bed.
Thank you for watching. I'm Jodie Marsh, that's Rachel Carey. I'm vegetarian, she's a hunter. Don't hate either of us. We're just two blonde girls trying to live our life. This is my YouTube. Give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment. Be nice.
There isn't a follow-up video, by the way, to this.
Yeah.
There isn't any more bed scenes.
Yeah, so be nice. Don't be mean. And yeah, we are happy. We're loving life. We respect each other. We don't agree with everything each other does, and we never will, but we are friends, and that's that. I respect her, she respects me, we're proud of each other. Just be bloody nice.